What if cutting carbs, skipping meals and doing miserable HIIT workouts are actually why you're not losing weight? Because I did all those silly things and saw sod all results for it, until I made 3 small changes that fixed everything. So in this video, I'll show you exactly what those changes were and how they helped me drop 25 pounds so you can do the same. The first thing I changed was how I was logging my food. Now, I'll be honest, I was already tracking what I was eating, but I was getting royally pissed off with it. I was seeing no results and still having that daily headache of pulling out my FitnessPal and logging all my meals. Turns out though, I was being sloppy with how I was logging a few things, and these tiny details were ruining my progress without me realizing. Think about how you spend money. 9 times out of 10, you check the price before you buy something big, right? But it's the daily micro purchases you don't even think about that quietly drain your account. And that's exactly what I was doing with my food. I was tracking the big meals, breakfast, lunch, dinners, but the oil I was cooking with, the milk and sugar in my teas and coffees, the spreads and sauces on my plate, completely guessed. And it was really adding up. All this time I thought I was hitting my calorie deficit target, but I wasn't even bloody close. And because I was doing most of the work already, I just thought calorie tracking was a pointless ball ache that didn't work. Was ready to sack it off entirely. But it was just those few sloppy areas that were the problem. When I started weighing everything out properly, it suddenly clicked and I started seeing the scales move because I was finally in a deficit. Best of all though, it didn't take much more time either. I was spending about 6 minutes a day tracking, and doing it properly didn't change that. I was just finally getting it right. But even with my calorie tracking nailed, the scales were still doing my bloody head in every Monday morning. And that's where the second change came in. How often I weighed myself. Before, I was jumping on those square bastards every Monday, and some weeks it would go down. Happy days. But other weeks it would go up. And what drove me absolutely mad was these were the weeks where I'd done everything right. Hit my calories and protein, got my steps in during the pissing rain, sweating my tits off on the treadmill, the lot. And the scales would still be a dick and go in the wrong direction. Brilliant. The frustration wasn't even the worst part though. It was the confusion. I'd followed the rules that every PT tells you, and I was getting the opposite result, which made no bloody sense. I didn't know what I was doing wrong or how to fix it, so I just started second guessing everything. Maybe I'm not training hard enough. Maybe my deficit isn't big enough. I'd slash my calories, squeeze in more exercise, and just end up hungry, miserable, and eventually binging anyway. Nice one. What I didn't understand was that your weight naturally fluctuates every single day, and it has nothing to do with fat loss. More carbs, more salt, stress, sleep, hydration, all show up on the scales in the form of water retention and undigested food. So on any given day, your scale weight isn't telling you whether you're losing fat. It's just telling you how much your body is storing at that precise moment. Like a big old meat sack. Ugh. Sorry. When I changed to weighing daily, it let me see those fluctuations in real time, so I stopped shitting a brick every time the number went up. And more importantly, it allowed me to calculate my weekly average and compare this week versus last week. That's the number that actually tells you if you're making progress or not. Even in weeks where the scales were all over the place, my weekly average was going down. Wasn't doing anything wrong, the scales were just lying little toe rags once a week. So my tracking was right, the scales were finally making sense, but I was still falling off every few weeks, and this last small change is what finally stopped that. Committing to a daily walk. And I know you might be thinking, yeah, to burn more calories, heard it all before, mate. There's more to it than that, let me explain. Before doing this, I'd always start strong, saying stuff like,
"This is it. No more fucking about, Louis. I'm gonna be good from here on in."
Famous last words. Then of course, life would just get in the way, wouldn't it? Motivation would bugger off, friends would invite me out, my partner would want a takeaway, and who in their right mind is saying no to a mighty meat feast with stuffed crust and a giant pot of garlic dip? Not me. That's for bloody sure. I'd overshoot my calories, miss a workout, and tell myself I'd get back on track next week, which would turn into the week after. And before I knew it, I'd fallen off entirely. The walk gave me something I didn't have before. A daily non-negotiable. One thing I had to do every single day, no matter what happened. The thing that made this possible was something called the 5-minute rule. All I had to do was get outside for a minimum of 5 minutes. And some days that's all I did. Most days I'd end up doing a bit more, but the bar was low enough that I had no excuse not to do it. What this gave me was way more valuable than steps and calories burned though. On the days where I'd gone over my calories, I couldn't get to the gym, or I just had a shitty day from hell, the walk made me feel like I was still in it. Like all was not lost. I still had my shit together and I was still moving forward. It stopped me having those, fuck it moments where I'd abandoned the diet, shove my face in a biscuit tin for weeks before dragging myself back to square one. Showing up every day, even for just 5 minutes, meant I never fully fell off. And that consistency is what kept the weight going down, even when everything else felt like it was going wrong. These 3 changes made losing weight so much bloody easier for me. And if you want a simple step-by-step process to losing 20 pounds in just 60 days, then watch this next video and copy the entire process.